Just bury your head in the sand and wait for your fucking prom.
And welcome to the Silence of Narcissism. Thank you everybody for tuning back in. I appreciate y'all coming back and listening, all three of you. And I'm bringing back Christian Vertigo.
Vertigo? Come on.
And now
Verdugo.
we've got
Verdugo.
I like Vertigo. Makes people's heads spinning with his theories. And then we've got now Aimee Tamawis. Aimee Tamawis.
Tamales.
A little closer to the mic.
Tamales.
Tamale.
Is it Spanish?
Nope.
What is it?
Filipino.
Cool.
Oh, we've got a nice little hot Filipino on the show for everybody.
I'm Mexican.
Now we got to get the webcam going so everybody can have some eye candy.
Whatever.
Then we'll really get some listeners.
We'll have to sold out.
I'm a big fat girl, actually.
Yeah.
220.
No, she's totally lying. She's hot, thin, sexy, Filipino. Dude, come on.
Does your girlfriend listen to this?
She doesn't need to know about none of this.
Okay.
What happened to this podcast?
I keep my girlfriend separate from the podcast, but that way I could bring in some hotties and then be like, yeah, eye candy. Well, thank you everybody for tuning back in. And the fuck?
Yeah.
The fuck? What have you guys been doing this week?
I've been doing too much, man. I've been researching a lot of stuff into like old Russian history. Just
I
out
haven't
of
been
curiosity.
watching nothing this week. I have not watched a single video. I haven't even thought about conspiracy theories. I haven't even
it hasn't even
delved
been
into
conspiracy
nothing.
stuff for me. It's just been like history stuff because like half the stuff we've been learning about is our own history from our American perspective, and I was just wondering, like, you know, while we were being formed in say the 1800s, what was it like to be Russian? You know, what history did they have that brought themselves to be an 1800s Russian individual?
That's a very interesting, specific.
So I just said, what is Russian history?
Thing to get interested in.
And it wasn't. It was just that, because then I was wondering, so why did these people get to the point where they were Germany's enemy in World War II after being their ally, kind of in World War I believe. I could be totally wrong on that, but they all kind of worked together at some points and then stabbed each other in the back. And a lot of people have a lot of different theories on it, especially from our perspective. But when you go and look at their whole culture, it's wild, because they have a Catholic church. It's not even Catholic. It's a Russian Orthodox church, but it's just like Catholicism. But they don't have popes. But they do have like saints in a way. But it's been really interesting.
Well, we have saints all over the world, don't we?
Right. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm saying, like,
calling
their whole church,
pope a pope, they call their pope a saint.
And just to see that,
so that's just like
I've never seen it before.
More silent narcissism,
maybe.
Yeah.
And you can look up all that history, though. What is it? Yeah. Is it really the truth, anyways? Though?
Yeah, exactly.
It's everything you look up. You look up all this history, and it's just a bunch of bullshit.
Dude, isn't that sad?
It is sad.
It's sad. It's like I feel like I can't rely on anything anymore. Anything I hear. Like, I can't go to the store and they're all like, oh, that's 99 cents. You ring it up, it's $1.06. You fucking liar. Yep. I can't rely on anybody anywhere.
Well, it's the truth. I just linked something on Facebook the other day. I think yesterday, actually. From 2013, it was a TED Talk. I wish I could remember the guy's name. I think it was like Eli something. And he was talking about how Facebook and Google put us through a filter bubble after a while. And everybody knows that we will click on a link and then we'll start getting more links like that. So say we're a right-wing conservative. You know, you have this viewpoint of, say, Trump or Cruz, and you click on all these links all the time that are first Cruz. So when you start looking up Republican ideas, it starts bringing that up. And then on the flip side, if like on me, if I start looking at conspiracy stuff on YouTube, all my suggested videos turn into conspiracy stuff. Mm-hmm. So you see it slightly happen. And then in Facebook, I see it. If you stop liking certain people's pictures and you start liking other ones, you'll start seeing more of their posts, or you'll see more of a certain page that you post less than the other. Mm-hmm. So you start to have your own confirmation bias within that. So it's like, what have we done that with outside everywhere else? You know, if we're doing it with Facebook, and along with the Russian thing, this guy Anatoly Fomenko, he has this book or the series called The New Chronology, and he says
he's the guy you were talking about.
Yeah, I was talking to you about the other day. He's a mathematician, and he grouped up with this other guy, who he's a world chess grand champion. So I mean, obviously he's somewhat smart. I guess that's giving him some credibility. So they worked out this, like, they were looking at history, right? They're trying to figure out what is correct. And so they've been looking through all the old stories, all the way back to the Roman Empire, to Greece, and all those previous gods and the stories of their conquerors, Napoleon, all the way from before the 1500s to before the 1000 AD and before. And he said a lot of them have really, really similar stories, and like siblings and amount of children and the time that they were alive and the dates certain things happened, that he and this other guy, if you compressed it all down to which ones were so alike within a certain parameter, that he thinks that most of our recorded history, including the Rome era, when it first started with like the Roman gods, when they worshiped Roman gods and built all the Colosseum,
or copied history.
It's not copied. It's just plagiarized. So he's saying all this stuff happened from about 1000 AD to now. So only within the last 1500s, and he thinks most of the history that we've been taught.
Spirituality, Jesus, look at all these religions.
Well, and one of his
things
is
the same fucking story, and they just hey, guess
what?
And then that cool story we heard, that was Paul.
Yeah, it's really wild.
The same with like Jesus and Horus, the Egyptian god, and so many others. They were born on December 25th.
Right. In like the beginning of
in the east.
In the beginning of that Zeitgeist video, they go down a list.
Right.
Of all the people that have like extremely similar stories, where it's like they die 3 days later, they rise up, they were born of a virgin, blah 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 blah. It's like,
and it was always thought that it's happened over 30 or 60 4,000, 5,000 years.
It all got explained.
But what if it was a group
of
guys that made it, and then said the history of the people was this, and I know it's well spread out and like seems way too crazy, but
sound, we're a vape friendly podcast, so just ignore.
Yeah, we vape, bruh.
We vape, bruh.
We vape.
You want to bend over? I'll show you my vape.
Oh.
But talking about the internet identity thing, like when I first started doing the Can't Hit the Girl podcast, like 4 years ago, I really wanted to avoid that. So what I did when I was on Facebook is that I went through and I started liking links from all sorts of different groups on both ends. Yeah. Right wing, left wing, racist, anti-racism, like pro this, anti that, like everything, like, Black Lives Matter, like feminist, anti-feminist movement. Like I wanted to get on my newsfeed perspectives from all sides, so I can constantly have like a flow of information that I can look at both sides and like see, like, because a lot of times you'll see the same story from both perspectives. Yeah. Like you'll get this feminist movement, this dude's a douchebag, then the anti-feminists, well, the feminists say this dude's a douchebag, but they're really the douchebag. And it's like, so you get both perspectives on either side. Yeah. And I think that really helped me out when I was doing the Can't Hit the Girl podcast.
It definitely does, because you talk to people and you see that they do that, they feed from one side, and I did that for a long time on multiple sides of different things. And the moment you can start realizing you do that, you can start changing certain ways you think about things. Just like we were talking about Chipotle in the last podcast, how we felt about it just based on what someone else said. Two podcasts. You can break away from that and really just start forming your own opinions when you see at least two sides. And then you might want to see another side. And then you might want to see that eighth side, which is the Russian perspective from 1800s. You know what I mean? You just get curious. And it's fun where it takes you when you do
Russian
that. Because
perspective from the 1800s.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what does that? It's cool. But no one ever tries to think about that. Sounds like the
college class where only you would take.
Maybe.
I like the whole, I like that it kind of remembers what I like, because I like such a huge variety of things, and I'm constantly looking at 1,000 different things, that everything that comes up is like, I want to read that. I want to read that. I want to read that.
Well, see, you know what? Like, I'll watch her go through her news feed. And I'll see the things that pop up.
Stalking.
Like, when she's like, just like over her shoulder, breathing heavily. Like, but when she's like going through her newsfeed and shit, she's showing me stuff. Like, it's all like positive this, like positive that, positive this. Like, I hate my newsfeed now for the exact same reason that I just told you. Like, I went through and I wanted to get all these different perspectives. Now, constantly, it's just my newsfeed is just filled up with nothing but a constant flow of finger pointing. Like finger pointing articles, like they're the bad guys, they're the bad guys, they're the bad guys, they're the bad guys. And like for a long time there, I didn't realize it. Like I was getting like really aggressive, like fuck everybody. Like it's because I'm like, look at what I'm exposing myself to all the fucking time.
Yeah, and depending
which is why
on,
I deleted my Facebook off my phone.
Which groups
I don't even
or
like
which
to look
pages you've liked and stuff too, because there was a time when I was going through my newsfeed and all I was seeing was like slaughtered animals and like dogs being murdered. So I was like, maybe I should take. I started taking off like the cruelty pages, and now I don't see shit like that. Just maybe a little bit. But
it's like
scary.
It's nice to like be aware of stuff like that. But like those pages, like they try to bombard you with like, you're horrible. They're all horrible. We need to stop this. Fight, fight, fight. Throw rocks. And it's like, dude. Yeah, I don't need to see the mangy dog that was saved on the side of the road video like 500 different times.
Dogs in Vietnam being boiled alive. Like,
oh, that's horrible.
I was seeing it all the time. It was
dude, one of the worst videos I stumbled on in my newsfeed. God, it was a while ago. Shit. I wish I could remember where this was, but it was literally this village.
We don't want to remember.
And for some reason, they thought the certain people in the village, they dedicated them bad for some odd reason.
Is this with the tire?
No.
The gasoline?
I don't think so.
I think I know what you're talking about. Go on.
But if you guys know this, like, I'll just say what happened. Maybe you guys will remember. But I feel like if I remember correctly, it had something to do with they thought, like, the village was getting infected by evil spirits or something like that. So they literally dug a trench. Like, a trench. Probably, like, 10 feet wide, like, 100 feet long. And they were just throwing people in it and burning them alive.
Oh no, that's not.
And it was the most horrible thing. Like they were kicking this elderly woman into the trench, just kicking her, and she's just submissive, there's nothing I could do. Yeah. She was surrounded by hundreds of people, all like ranting, like go ahead, burn the fucking evil spirits, and this woman's just defeated, just taking it, and they're just pouring liquid on her and just setting her on fire alive. That's crazy. It was the most horrible thing I'd ever seen in my life. And it's like sometimes maybe some people you don't want to see that, but sometimes you do.
It's like a smack in the face of reality.
Oh yeah.
It's a smack in the face.
This is what's really going on.
Because if I'm walking around all the time going like life is great for me, look at my house and I'm working my job, and it's like people in other countries are going like, dude, if I had like 1,000
the morbid reality.
You were talking about another tribe though, that when somebody was acting out, they would bring them all in the same area and like give them praise them, like tell them like, positive things about the person.
I was telling you about this?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't remember how long ago. It was not that long ago. He doesn't have a good memory.
No, I don't.
But something like that to maybe bring somebody's spirits up is instead of throwing them in a fucking pit of hell.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, right? Like someone needs to teach them people fucking Reiki.
Yeah.
It's like, just cleanse the evil spirits. Here's some selenite crystals. Go ahead.
Maybe some water and some food might
Maybe
help
they just
these
need
tribes.
a bath. Maybe they were like, they stink. Let's burn them.
There's some wild stuff that happens.
Here's some fucking dish soap. Go ahead at it. And, stop burning each other alive.
It's similar to that one I saw with the people. It was similar. They said they were witches and they were burning. They'd put gasoline inside of a tire and put it around their neck and set it on fire. And it just, sometimes it'll kill them. If it didn't, they look like those pictures of those Muslim women with acid poured on them.
Yeah, if you think about it, like all of the people today that are claiming to be like psychic or anything like that, they would be considered witches and burned. People that have these natural powers. And what do? We fucking kill them. We kill them off until now there's only a very small percentage of them. When that could have been our evolution.
That whole like Salem witch trial thing, like apparently they tried. I was reading this article where they were saying that like this really common sporous mushroom is popular in that area.
Oh yeah.
And they think that what happened is that like everybody was just everybody in the area got exposed to, like, I don't know.
Or the witches probably spiked them with it and they thought they had a curse on them.
Or no, I think that, like, if I remember correctly, it was airborne.
It's MK Ultra.
Or something like that. Or maybe they were eating it, or they were putting in their tea or something like that. And, like, my memory wants to say that it was, like, an airborne thing. But then they basically everybody was just on a crazy mushroom trip. Like, they're changing colors. Burn them. Wait, I'm changing colors. Burn me.
They're making me change colors.
Well, they just needed one hippie to go in there and be like, man, dude, just enjoy it.
Well, it's the truth.
Just paint with the colors. Don't burn it.
Oh, man. I want to look into the Salem witch trials because I never really looked. I know the stories of it, and most of them are hocus pocus, that from the perspective I have right now. And I really wonder if people were getting killed, like, what were they really doing? Were they witches, or were they just people maybe with a different mentality of what was happening at that time?
I mean, it was mostly women, and like if a woman, even when it like I said, like having a power, like they were able to sense when it was going to rain or something like that. They even considered something like that witchcraft.
Yeah, it was pretty.
I mean, any little thing.
It was pretty fucking vague. I remember reading something like
or a woman, if she was born on this day,
I think it was
this color eye.
I think it was as tedious as she's using like a rain stick killer. Like it got pretty fucking tedious.
Or women who wanted to do more than just sit in the house and clean and sew and take care of children.
She's acting independent. Burner.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right. I mean, well, that still kind of went on until the 40s.
Well, like the 20s.
I shouldn't even laugh about that.
Mm-hmm. No.
If we can't laugh about it,
I don't know. My thing on that, I don't disagree with women being able to do anything, but I was just talking like with my wife about this recently. That I think
you're sexist for just saying.
One of the problems is that women who are at home.
Now they're looking down upon.
They're looking down upon them like they're not doing anything, but they were doing that beforehand to make women think that it wasn't a big deal to raise children. You know what I mean? And because it is not. If we're parents and we're both at work all day long, who's interacting with our children the majority of the time?
When they're most influential.
When they're most influential.
Yeah.
They're at school and with their friends.
This is what we were talking about.
And we had talked about that before, and I was talking about
the whole destruction of the family unit.
Yeah, and it's
I totally believe that's a thing.
If it's not one or the other, it's and if we did come from a time when we didn't have these buildings, then maybe in the day and age that we are right now, it's okay to have your children off in school, I guess. But like me personally, I don't want them. I would rather my wife, if she wanted to, and she does, fortunately, to stay home, even though she does have to work. But I'm going to raise my kids to know that she's doing a super important job doing it. Because then if my daughter chooses
the problem,
to do
is
that.
Nowadays, the home unit is set up like a fucking prison.
Yeah,
exactly. Because we live in
like,
these houses 5-10 feet from the house next to each other. Like, I'm living right on a busy fucking street.
Yeah.
And it's like, if me and my wife are fucking living in this house, like, she can't just go out in the grassy front yard and let the kids roam in the field because there is no fucking field.
They make it almost impossible for one person to be able to bring in enough income to support a whole family.
Exactly.
So it's like, because
that's what I
you
always
really
wanted
have
to do.
No choice for both people to work.
Right.
And then if you do make money, then they don't want to give you any benefits, like any help. It just makes no sense.
Because I feel like that certain people are happier in certain situations. I know that throughout my life, I've learned that a lot of my happiness comes from being respected for what I do and being appreciated for what I do, for being able to provide.
Right.
That I don't know why. I wish there was something else.
Something you were taught forever.
It's like I don't even know if it was something I was taught because I didn't really grow up in a household where that was like taught to me. I mean, it just seems something like innate. Like I want to provide and I want to be appreciated and I want to come home and be like, here's the catch and make everybody happy. And I want people to look at me like, you did a good job. Thank you. Like I don't know why, but I want that. Being appreciated is the thing that fulfills me the most out of anything in my life.
And that's the problem, though, is that these women are doing, a hard job staying at home and taking care of things, and they're not getting that appreciation. They're not getting the, hey,
because society looks at you now like you're defeated. Like, oh, you're a homemaker. You're taking care of the kids. I'm so sorry.
Like, oh my God, you breastfeed your child.
Right. Well, think about it. If
no
matter what, true
an
feminism,
8-hour-a-day job, honey. That's what you should be doing. Sitting at a desk, staring at a computer screen, feeling miserable.
While someone else is taking care of your children and teaching them their morals, not your morals. Yeah.
It's really about where are you at? Like, if you...
let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Like, but I think that this is general for everybody, though. I think if everybody had the option, despite being, I feel like a lot of women are more happier when they're able to have more freedom in their life, when they're able to not have to be forced to go to a job constantly, to be able to be forced to do, like, to not have a constant, like, I have to do this and sit down. Like, I think that women like to be able to go, hey, I don't want to go to work today. I want to spend the day home taking care of, hanging out with my kids. I want to go to the zoo. I want to do that. Like, I mean... I personally would like to be physical, doing something. I like to do stuff. I love spending time with my daughter, and if I had the option, I would also take the same option. I would be like, yeah, I want to be able to have that freedom too, but I don't know, I think that there's more fulfillment in a guy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a sexist thing to say, but I think there's more fulfillment when a man is like doing something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that's a sexist mentality.
I enjoy, like, I don't think I could ever not work at least a couple days a week, like, because I want to have my own independence. Yeah. And, hey, I earned this money and I'm going to spend it on whatever the hell I want to spend it on because I earned it. Yeah. Just something special, even saving up for a vacation or something like that,
So what was the question?
Yeah.
The question the question was, is that would you guys take that same option? Like, I think everybody would take that same option if you can have the freedom to be able to...
If I could have the freedom to do whatever I would want?
Basically just to choose when you can go to work, to have more freedom to be like, I want to work today or I don't want to work tomorrow. I'm going to spend it with my family. Would you take something like that?
Oh, well, of course.
I don't think anybody would turn that down.
Right.
I think that's like that's something that everybody yearns for.
Well, like you said, it's all about being appreciated for the work you do. And I think both men and women do have that. And really, if you're a man and a woman, you're having kids. Let's put it that way. Like, see, that's the main thing. If you're a man and woman, you don't have kids yet, the only thing you're building is your relationship. You're not building something for the future that you have brought into this world yet. I know that sounds crazy.
No,
but at the bare minimum, if you're carrying on a family, and if you have kids and they're not even, you know what I mean? If you have kids, you're building your life with your family at that point. So if you're a man and a woman, you have to come to this agreement and be real. Where are we at? What do we want to do with our life? And me and my wife are just now starting to get things on track, and it's crazy. But this is the mentality nobody has. What do you both want to do? Okay, we want to make enough money to do X. Okay, if we both have to work, we both have to do this. If we want to get to this point, you know what I mean? Like, set a goal.
We want this. You guys want to get, do some ecstasy on the weekends.
You want to be able to do ecstasy on the weekends. Yeah. You get to that point, you can do ecstasy on the weekends.
You guys want to make money to do X.
But you work together. So if then it's like, okay, we want to do this, but we want our kids to be raised in this certain way. Okay, if we're both working, we know that's not going to happen. You have to be real. If our kids are at school all the time and you have no impact on them even after, you know what I mean? Or you have to say, okay, we're both working. We both have to work with our kids after work, even though we're tired. Or everything's going to get screwed up. It's as real as that. What do you want your kids to be? Like, and it's harder if you both have to work. Because if they are able to be home with one of them, you get that more leeway to where, okay, when dad comes home and he does a couple things with them, that's when mom's okay to not do anything. And I'm not that good at that yet with my wife, but we're both working. And she still holds a lot of the burden of the home stuff because I'm off in my own head sometimes doing all this other stuff, trying to make it to where she doesn't have to work anymore. So it's really hard on everything, but you have to, like... And that's why I lean towards having a woman that appreciates all that extra work.
That you want to take, you want to go out, you want to build something so you can be like, look what I did for you.
Right. Well, because she wants to be a stay-at-home mom.
You're doing it to fulfill yourself and to take care of her.
Right.
Like,
and she wants to be a stay-at-home mom.
The person I'm with is usually always my inspiration. Like right now, like I'm at a very inspired point in my life. I'm very happy. I'm feeling very fulfilled. And, I'm tackling a lot more of my dreams now than I have in the past maybe year and a half. You know, I was like kind of in a little bit of a slump to where like I wasn't putting my effort in. I mean, I was just nowhere near as much, nowhere near as much. Maybe once or twice a week I was putting work in towards my future. Yeah. And then I was spending a lot more time playing, you know. I was doing the whole celebration, getting drunk and spending time with friends, celebrating when I have nothing to celebrate, you know, which I think is a bad mentality. I think that people should save like those nights where you go out with your friends and those nights where you do things. I think those should be considered, you should do those as
for a reason.
Rewards to yourself. Like,
or like
I did
a
something
birthday
good.
Or, you know.
Or like like a birthday or like, you know, like you did something good. Look, I accomplished something today. I finished a part of my goal. Let's get some drinks and let's celebrate. You know, I think celebration should be for that. I think people tend to celebrate too much.
Behind it of some
you're right.
Sort. It could
I agree.
Be tons of things.
Well, it's moderation too. And it's not even moderation. It's about being aware of what you're doing. You know what I mean? If you know you probably shouldn't be doing this because you're wasting time
and money
that you don't have, then you have to just be real.
That's where I was for like a year and a half. I was just celebrating with nothing to celebrate, and now, you know,
and all that
I'm
time.
accomplishing a lot more because I feel like I have a reason to accomplish it. I have somebody to accomplish it for. If that makes sense. It's, I don't know why I'm like that. I feel like when I have somebody to
do something
to take care of, you know, like I'm more driven, I'm more inspired, I'm more creative when I have somebody that it's like, look at me, look what I can do for us, you know, look what I can do for us, you know. And I don't know, I don't know, I'm not a woman. Maybe women do have that thing to where like, I think they do. Being in a relationship makes them go, I want to take care of you. Right. Like as a person. Like I don't know if women have that. Like
no, women want to fix men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The women do.
I think they want.
That's why this feminist movement is about fixing men. You know what I mean? It is all about getting men to be.
You said breaking men?
However you want it, however they want to look at it. That's how I want to say. I'm not a woman.
I mean, it depends on what kind of feminist. You know,
I mean, well, it's all about saying that men aren't thinking the right way because we should be
talking about here.
You know, and I'm just, whatever. You know, that's how I feel about it. I think if a woman wants to do what she wants to do in life, do it with all your energy and don't worry about what other men say about you. Don't worry about what other women want you to think other men say about you. Do it. Just like Shia LaBeouf said, fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like, if you have something to do that, like Joe's talking about, that person that you want to accomplish things for, at the very end of the day, it should be you. Doing it for your kids and your family is just the icing of the cake because you get the benefit of it from someone else. But that's ego and pride on all itself. But that's a positive ego and pride because it's an extension of the work you're doing with someone else.
There's a quote by Charlie Chaplin where he was talking about, like, he says something about, I can't remember how he worded it, but he realized that he said something along the lines of,
you want it?
I've learned to love myself. And I wish I could remember.
Totally forgot it.
Yeah, I can't remember it, but it was a great quote. God damn it! I wish my memory had that photographic memory. I could pull things up, but it had something to do with like, I learned to love myself, and not, and it's not an egotistical thing. No. It's like he referred to it as, I call it a healthy egoism to love oneself, And he said something like, there's like in reference, like there's a balance to love yourself with a healthy egoism. And I think that's right. I think that people should have a healthy egoism. You can't love another person if
you don't love yourself. Period.
I agree. If you don't love yourself, then dude, how can you expect someone else to love you?
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be constantly insecure and
It's the truth. If you don't care about yourself, you're never going to care about anything. And that caring about yourself is really what makes you wake up and say, I want to do this. Because if I don't do it, I'm going to hate myself. And it's just, and it could be anything. Like you said, this podcast is one of those things, you know, it's like someone else is not doing this. I mean, they're not going to do it for us. They're not going to do it. They're not going to teach you how to play guitar.
Wait, you mean the government isn't going to make me do my podcast?
They might.
Dang.
Government, I want you to make me do my podcast for me.
And these people, people want that stuff. They want to have a better thing to do. But if you really just do it, that's all I can say.
Yeah, if you have a passion to do something.
Yeah.
then you're never going to be happy until
But that's,
achieving some of your passion.
That's why, like, I'm a big believer in, like, living a guilt-free life and, like, a truthful life. Because, dude, I don't know why, but when I do something or if I lie, and the more I'm, like, honest about myself and the more I'm truthful with who I am and what I do, and I try to not do things that make me walk away with a guilt-free conscience, like, I notice that I think less negative thoughts. Not just about myself, about, like, other people around me. When I do something and I have a guilty conscience, suddenly, like, I just notice
and
I
it
get
projected on everybody else.
It becomes it's like something that becomes projected on everybody else. And it just goes rampant. You get negative thoughts, which is why I'm very adamant about, like, being truthful, not doing anything that gives me a guilty conscience, and just being, in the moment and, like, doing what I need to do and not overthinking it.
Yeah.
I think that's a healthy way to be. And I don't think other people realize that. People are riddled with, like, negative thoughts.
It's a super internally personal thing. It's like,
it could be just me, how I work. But
I think if everybody tried it,
I think
they might experience something different in life. If they just tried to think about, like, a burp, but just thought about what they.
My gas is good.
The things they do, little things that make you feel guilty that you don't even realize. Like, I shouldn't have done that. Like cutting someone off out on the street, as simple as that. If you just don't do it and wait the extra 30 seconds, you might have.
Celebration.
You know what I mean?
Beers.
Yeah, celebration beer. Go get drunk. You know what I mean? Just little things like that. If you just start incorporating them.
This is going to sound stupid, but like, just the other day, I was having a phone conversation with a guy that had to do with a union rep through my work about somebody at my work, and we were trying to figure out some information about things that have been going on with this specific person, and they were asking for examples. And I gave him an example of something that had happened years ago at the workplace with a certain situation. And then after I got off the phone, I realized, I was like, man, am I remembering that situation right? Or did I just fill in the holes I couldn't remember? And then I felt like I was lying. And then I was like, did I just lie? I didn't mean to lie. Did I? And I was trying to remember, and I'm like, fuck, I can't.
Memories are. Yeah, you don't even really remember very much of anything.
No, and I just said it off the top of my head, of course this happened. I remember it happened, and then I was trying to actually remember it, and I was like, wait, I remember that something like that happened, but did I say it the way it did happen?
Or did I just remember it how he explained it?
Or did I just remember it how I wanted to remember it?
Yeah.
And then that whole day, dude, I moved on. I was like, no, I skipped it in my head. I was like, no, it was probably just, I probably said it fine. And then that whole day, I kind of had a real negative day, a real bad day, even with me and my girlfriend. That whole day, I was negative all the way to the extreme, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I was like, what's going on with me? Why am I having a negative day? And I think and then once I came to the conclusion, I was like, I need to confront that union guy again and let him know that to not rely on that information, because I don't know if I can remember it accurately. And then after that, for some reason, I felt better. Yeah. Once I made that decision to clear my conscience on that, in that one situation that I hadn't thought about all day, it took me a little bit to sit down and go, why am I feeling like that? And then I went back and I thought about that one situation, and I'm like, I need to remedy that, because I think that's sitting on my conscience. And as soon as I made that conscious choice to fix that situation, suddenly I felt a huge weight come off me. And it's weird. It's I didn't even know the weight was there, but suddenly I felt better and lighter.
People need to start paying attention to how they're feeling a lot more, and that can help with negativity. You can trace back and figure out what exactly
or we could just build all of our cars and houses out of selenite.
Well, you know what I mean, why where the problem came from in the beginning, what started this, and then you can come up with a solution. Energy, if you don't ever go back, you have no solution. You're never going to find a solution, at least.
How do you go about doing it? Finding a solution, in situations like that.
In situations like that, I guess if something is constantly bothering me, And like I, like kind of like when I know I did something wrong and something is bothering me and it's weighing on me, and then I'm projecting onto other people.
My phone was on. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, just like if I can pretty much easily know like where that's coming from, at least I can, and then I try to find a way to fix it, I guess.
How about you?
Shoot.
Have you never really thought about it, or?
No, I mean, if you're feeling like
I'm just mostly
I've been
curious
thinking
for
about
myself,
it recently. Like I just recently talked to my mom after that long time, and that was like one of those things always in the back of my head, weighing me down. Like this isn't right in life, Yeah,
because I don't think we said this on the podcast, but you haven't like communicated much with your parents in like a long time.
It's been a rough childhood, rough
like
family
8
life.
years or something like that.
10 years for my mom and a few years for my dad, but it was good to talk to her just because, but me to get to that point, either way, it's just like, that was a big one for me. So it was a long time. It took a longer process of me changing my mind on a lot of other things. But say just a situation with someone else. I mean, I'm always upfront and I try to be as truthful as possible with everybody. You know what I mean? I understand, I'm as truthful as anybody to anybody, but there's other people. Obviously, you don't let everybody know everything about you if you don't know them.
Sometimes you got to be careful with people because sometimes, if you're over honest with some people and you tell them your weaknesses,
you have
then
to
they
know
tend to
someone.
get mad and use them as like a weapon against you.
Right.
And I've had that
and
so many times in the past. That's why like I'm very careful about like the people who I let myself into nowadays.
And you have to, but you have to also be aware
who's
of
in my friend circle.
Yep.
Like
how they affect you.
I'm very selective about the people I try to keep in my close friend circle now. Before I used to be like desperate for friends. Sorry, but go ahead.
No, you're right, man. But I was just saying, you do have to be careful with that because that's one of the ways you learn how to discern your feelings and how other feelings affect you is by being friends with someone or being close to someone and open yourself up to let your feelings go out and their feelings affect you. And me growing up rough childhood, I feel like that happened a lot because obviously my parents loved me, but there was times where it felt to me like they didn't like that I was around, if you know what I'm saying. And I know that feeling because I opened myself up to be.
Now, did they actually feel that way, or is that just
no?
How
it was
you
just
felt?
the situation. You know what I mean? You get a vibe of understanding that if they're mad at you, they're mad because of a situation, and you're one of the things that are pushing it up over a certain point. And that's that's life. I mean, we get mad at our kids if we get home from work and it's real hard, and then they're screaming, we get mad and yell at them. You know what I mean? So in that moment, we're that bad guy. So if you kind of multiply that by about 10 to 20, 30 or something on a different level that most people don't experience, it's a little more impacting, but you do get to feel that difference of people, that vibe that you get from other people. And then you can start feeling how what you do would affect other people because you know what they're doing, even though they love you, they're making you feel a certain way. So what are you doing, even though you love them? How are you negatively affecting them? Even though you might not even be aware of it. Like me, I always bring up my wife because I haven't been the best husband, throughout the years. And I'm only now realizing how shitty of a guy I've been because I've sat on a computer for years playing World of Warcraft, and she would do everything for me. She'd still make dinner, she'd still get me stuff ready, she'd buy me new clothes, and we do all this stuff. But I would be this guy that just sat there playing this computer game. And I loved her, and I told her I loved her, and we'd do stuff, but it never occurred to me like, yo, she doesn't want this dude that's just sitting on a computer all day. You know what I mean? And so like that, I was having fun, but she wasn't having fun during that time. Maybe she was watching TV or something, but it was like, you really have you have to know. Yeah, I love her, but I wasn't expressing it as completely as she deserved it, and that was one of my big things. But
yeah, getting like in any situation that there's a problem, I think like, if you take a look at yourself, rather than looking at what everyone else is doing. Right. You go in and figure out what you're doing wrong because you're the only person that you can change.
Yep.
Like everyone else, they're going to do whatever they want. Right. But I want to fix me, so that's all that I'm worried about.
The man in the mirror.
Yeah. And another thing that annoyed me is my wife, she would sometimes maybe compare me to like what her friend's husband or boyfriend was doing. And it's just like, that made it worse, just because it's like, I do love you, in your own head as a guy.
When you're a little kick.
No, that never helped. ever help.
It never helps.
Never helps to do that to a man, because a man wants to be an independent guy, like Joe was saying, that provides for you. And when you start comparing him to another man, it's like you're cheating on him with that man. And it sounds crazy, but it's the truth. It's like you're saying, well, I should be with this guy. Look what this guy's doing for my friend.
If you're sitting at home playing a video game all day.
Well, I know. But I'm saying.
Then you can kind of see where she's feeling.
Well, no, I can see that, but I'm saying this is another situation. This was after the fact. This happened before. But I'm saying what women do in their situation that affects me, because I don't want to just say I was all this, but my wife's perfect. I can't say anything bad about her, but I tell from my experience with all like the guys at work and other people I've met in my life, I am among the fortunate ones, and and I will admit that.
She stayed with you all these years?
She stayed with me through all that, because I see other guys, they have problems with other certain small things that my wife dealt with me.
That's what I think everybody needs in life. Is like
it's the truth.
Nobody, like, we're in this generation to where, everything's disposable. Everything we use is disposable. Everything in our life is disposable.
And then get married, you can just get a divorce.
Yeah. Right. Everything's moved up into this area to where, like, well, if you don't like it, move on, honey. Move on, dude. Move on. Get away from that bitch. Get away from that dick. Like, everybody, it's like nobody realizes that, like, if you want something in your life, you've got to build it. Yeah. And me, I'm the mentality that, like, I've always wanted just one person. That's it. That's all I ever wanted. And when I was with, my daughter's mom, I mean, I don't want to talk about her bad in the podcast because she's a great person now. But when we were together, she wasn't the greatest person. But it's, I'm sure I was not the greatest person either. But, I tried for going on 8 years to make something happen with her. And it took a lot. It took a hell of a lot for me to finally make the decision to, you know what? This is never getting any better. This is not getting any better. This is who she is. She doesn't want to change. She wants to be her. No. I can't make her change. I've spent years doing nothing but changing myself, and now I can't do it anymore. It took a lot for me to get to that point. No. And you know what? I don't know. I don't think I would ever make that decision again. No. I think that if I get with somebody, it's going to be for the long haul. If I make that decision, if I'm with you, then I'm with you. And we're going to have to make it work, learn each other, appreciate each other, respect each other's space, let each other be who we need to be, build each other up, make each other the people we want to be, make ourselves the people that we want to be for the other person, and make it work. Because you can't throw something away if it's broken. Yeah. And that's what we do. If something feels broken, we just toss it out. Disposable. Our friends are toilet paper now. Oh, fuck. They disagreed with me at the bar last night. Fuck him. Like, wipe my ass, throw out another friend. Let's not hang out with them. Let's go bash them to the rest of the toilet paper friends. That's how we fucking treat people. And I've never treated any of my friends like that. I try to always respect anybody in my life, even if I fucking disagree with them completely and I don't like them. I may not hang out with you as much if I find out you're like some racist bigot or something like that. Right. But I'm not going to treat you like a shitty person. I may try to like show you by influence that, hey, maybe hating people isn't the way to go.
Right. It's not worth it.
That's all you can do. Yeah.
That's all you can do is just be an example.
And that's the key for all the isms that are out there. If you're just the example of what you want in life, and you show that it's possible without screaming about what you believe in, that just being an example, it's as simple as that. Because if you're a true example to say you can do it without not disliking people and just loving people,
I would respect so many movements if they would stop pointing fingers, right, and they would start leading by example. Yeah. And if these movements would stop going on Facebook, creating more hate memes. And it's all these memes are. They're all hate memes. Like pictures of cops that, like, we're going to bash this cop because we don't like some situation that we totally misunderstood and didn't happen the way we think we did, but we're going to say it did. And now this fucking dude's getting fired and has to go into, like, witness protection because people are throwing fucking Molotovs at his house because some stupid fucking movement decided they needed someone to point a finger at. And it makes me sick to my stomach what they're doing to so many of these people. And if they would just go, hey, dude, look, we want to be respected as whoever we are, women, black, Mexican, gay, whatever it is. We want to be respected, and we feel unrespected. Dude, oh my God, I would respect the fuck out of that. Just coming out and being like, look, we're feeling unrespected. A lot of people are feeling unrespected in the same category of person that I am, and we want to be respected. We love everybody. We want to appreciate you as a person. Right. We just want to feel like you appreciate us as a person. I would give you a 5-week applaud. I wouldn't even sleep or eat. I would just stand there like, God damn, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's all I want to hear. I would respect so many more people if that was what was going on, but it's not. That's what breaks my heart.
Like a meme or something the other day, and I really liked it. It was like, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Yeah. And it made sense, you know,
Yep.
like if you keep the toxic people in your life, you're just going to be attracting more, like, and you're going to end up being like just like that.
Yeah. My perspective on things my
Mm-hmm.
perspective on things that I read changed so much after I've started reading different things. Like Joe said, clicking different things. Just for me, it's a bunch of crazy stuff, but it got me just into a different perspective. And then you can go back and read something else and just get a whole perspective of it. I think I was telling Joe about the Metal Gear Solid and how the Philosopher's Stone was put inside of it, just as an integral part of the game. But it wasn't.
Oh, really? Which game was that?
Metal Gear Solid.
The first one?
All of them. The Philosopher's Stone in it, and it's basically the wealth of the world. You know what I mean?
Can make gold?
Huh?
Was it in the first game? I don't think
it was Metal Gear Solid in all of them. It's part of the
Stone makes gold.
Maybe it's just
It
been
can
so
turn
long.
it was part of the
iron
alchemy
into gold.
thing. It was saying it could turn nothing into gold. So basically, he's saying the Philosopher's Stone is the wealth of all these multinational corporations that run the whole world in the game, and their wealth system, which is their money on credit in this banking system, which is how it's ran. It's basically a glamorized version of our real situation around here, if you really want to look at it. And the whole monetary system is, these digits on these hard drives called the Philosopher's Stone can be turned into gold because it can buy gold. You know what I'm saying?
Anything can be.
Anything can be told. It's like our money's paper monopoly money. People say it's money, but you could take that money and go buy gold. Mm-hmm. But it's not worth that much gold anymore, or it used to be worth a certain amount of gold. So now these guys have all the gold, so they control the currency that's out there, and people are just playing with monopoly money, pretending it's worth something when they have all the gold.
The U.S. Treasury, they have so much money in circulation at a certain time, and it's supposed to equal the amount of gold that they have in their
So the Philosopher's
chamber.
Stone is the debts
We don't even
of
have
everybody in the world of Metal Gear Solid. It's the debts. What everybody owes to them.
Yeah, so that's the Philosopher's Stone.
That's the Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's part of it.
In the game.
In the game. Okay.
In the game. So, like, from my perspective now, from going back and reading Hans Christian Andersen after my mom told me I was named after him, like, I remember she told me a long time ago, and it came back as I was looking stuff up. So it kind of changed my perspective on how I looked at it. Like, before Metal Gear Solid, when they said Philosopher's Stone, I just thought it was a cool name that they named their wealth. Mm-hmm. But now looking at kind of like what that story was about, and then the alchemical versions of what people look at it is the Philosopher's Stone, and the history of that word and that phrase. Mm-hmm. It's like, damn, this guy actually cared a lot more about his video game than most people realize.
Oh, hell yeah, he does.
Just like you see symbolism in movies and stuff like that. Look at video games like Assassin's Creed. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a breakdown on some old conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And that's just only flavor to make it more interesting. But it's cool to, have a different perspective to say, yeah, conspiracy theories, if you're the type of person you don't really follow them, and they're like, yeah, they're crazy. But it's cool to see what they're about, because then other people put them in their games and you can understand it a little more. Kind of like when you watch a movie for the second time because you know what's going to happen, but then you start seeing all the clues.
Like Fight Club.
You can start seeing what other clues, Fight Club, they put into these things.
I had watched that movie 3-4 times, like, right after I watched it the first time, just to like catch all the little things that I didn't realize I missed the first time.
Yeah. So then if you, like she was saying, I know it's a roundabout way to get to it, but when you think, change the way you look at things, you start, what was the...
When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah. So if you're looking at things with a whole different light and understanding, say positivity.
Or an open mind.
An open mind and positive and love, and saying, oh, that was a good thing that happened
I think
to me
it
today.
helps to change the way you feel too.
Yeah, you start seeing
things.
the positive
It's the same thing. How
things.
you feel about things is going to affect how you
Your
look
thoughts.
at things.
Yeah.
And
Affects
like that day when I
things.
felt guilty, like suddenly like I was looking at things way negatively.
Yeah.
That whole day I had like this whole negative perspective on everything going on, and I hated it. I couldn't figure out what was going on with me. And you know, that just looking at things in a more positive way, you know, just like my girlfriend, looking at her in a way that she wants me to look at her at. Like, and I know that's like, I think one of the most important things in our relationship that affects everybody in a relationship that's never talked about is how you're looking at the other person. Because they feel that. I don't care what anybody says. If you're looking at another person and you feel negatively towards them, if you've got negative thoughts towards them or negative mentality towards them, they pick up on it. Whether you say it or tell them, they feel it every time you look at them. And I don't want to do that to people around me. I don't want to look at people with a negative mind. I don't want to look at them as you failure or this.
So even
or
if you're mad,
this.
if you're mad at someone, you should be like, well, you know, that they are my good friend, you know.
Yeah.
They've done this for me, or try to think of something positive to project at them.
Exactly. I do the same thing because I think, you know, this goes on into my whole like spiritual mindset about how I think reality works. But, you know, I've talked about it on other podcasts. I really do believe that we have a projection around us that I think even science says that we have the ability to have a lot of control over our own reality. I believe that full-heartedly, that our reality is what we want it to be.
Yeah.
It is. If I want my reality to be a negative place that has negative things, bad things going on, I'm going to see it, and it's going to be there, and I'm going to find it. And it will be happening. If I think bad things are always going to happen to me, bad things are probably always going to happen to me.
Or you're only going to focus on the bad things that are happening to you, not and
Exactly.
just
Whether they're
skim
happening or
past
not.
all
Yeah.
the you know really amazing things.
I'm just pulling things out of the air because it's like I just see something and it validates what I'm already seeing. My looking glass of reality. If my looking glass lens is blue negative, then everything that pops up that's blue and negative, I'm like, fucking there it is again.
Yeah.
You know?
When people say like, "Oh, it's raining out. It's going to be a crappy day." I'm like, "It's beautiful out. Like rain. We can take great naps.
Yeah.
We can,
Let's feel
you know,
good
like-
about it. But if you're looking at other people negatively, what you're doing is you're physically affecting that person inside and out. You're affecting their projection, their self-image, their body. If you look at someone like they're always ugly, whether you say it or not, they're going to start feeling ugly around you. They're going to start feeling bad around you. And that's what you're putting into things around you. Why would you want to do that to someone else? That's horrible. Why would you want to walk around and project negative things towards someone with just your own thought?
When you have no idea what kind of person they really are. You know,
Exactly.
if they're random, if you don't know them.
Except Kanye. I'm just,
Yeah.
I need that one that exempt. You know?
Kanye.
And Kim.
Please, let's not make him let's.
Well, that whole mindset,
Pass.
if you want to break it down simply, is like when you buy a new car, you start seeing your car everywhere because you see that car every morning. So if you're being positive every morning, you're going to start seeing the positive
Your
every
washing
morning.
machine breaks. Suddenly, you're always going to be like, every ad on TV is going to be for a new washing machine. It's like, oh, I didn't realize
it's something
there was
that
this
you
many
put
ads.
on your mind.
Then you buy a washing machine, and suddenly you don't see those ads anymore.
No.
That you do because you're not paying attention to them because you don't need it or you don't want it. You know, it's the same thing with all these movements. If you think that the world is racist, everything's going to validate that.
You're going to start seeing it everywhere.
If you think that the world is sexist, everything you see is going to validate that.
Or hear. Or anything
hear.
anybody says. Or
You know, like you're going to walk around and someone of a opposite sex or different skin color is going to give you what you thought was a dirty look, and you're just going to be like, it's obviously because I'm a woman or I'm gay or because I'm Mexican or black.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just going to validate that little thing. You go to walk into a bank and the person in front of you doesn't hold the door. Fucking sexist, racist, whatever. And it's like everywhere you go, it's just going to be validation, validation, validation. Yeah. And then, you know, in the feminist movement, if you hold the door open for a woman, it's, I'm not independent enough to hold my own door open. And then it's like, suddenly you're sexist. And then you hold the door open, you don't hold the door open for her, it's fucking you're sexist because you wouldn't hold the door open for my woman.
well, as long as you're keeping,
No way.
you know, your mindset on the positive side, then who cares? let that person, think whatever they want. You know.
That's
maybe one day they'll, come across a situation and where they realize, they get that realization like, hey, I'm a douche.
I wish more people would realize that.
We all have to at some point.
We should start making douche commercials.
We have to do it every day. How was I a douche?
It should be like a medicine commercial. It should start off all emotional, like someone in a field. Like, have you been feeling like a douche lately? Have people around you been telling you a douche?
We have a solution for you.
If you read this list, you may have. If you have 2 out of the 6 symptoms, you might be a douche.
Are we douches for making that then?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
No,
pointing it out. I don't know.
Oh, that's the thing I love to do in people, and I need to stop doing that. I like poking at other people's egos because when they have something about them that they just openly deny, but it's so obvious, and it's all like, hey, do you realize that you do this all the time? And it's like, stop putting me on Front Street. The ego hates being exposed. People hate being told that what they're doing is really one thing. Like, I had this guy that I used to live out in Point Place with, which is an area in the town, wherever that we live. And he was like sending this, he wanted me to run him to some carry out because he needed to get a cash, or like, what is it when you send money?
Money order?
It wasn't a money
Western
order.
Union?
Western Union, that's what. He was going to Western Union some money. And I was like, oh, you're Western Union money? Like, who are you doing it? Who you send it to? He's like, oh, my ex-girlfriend. I'm like, the one that you've told me nothing pleasant about, the one that I watched to like destroy your life, you're sending her money? And he's like, yeah, like, she's with this other dude and he's a piece of shit, and like she needs money for a pregnancy test because she's afraid he got her pregnant and she wants to leave him. And I'm like, dude, I was like,
love her.
I immediately said stop. I was like, stop, don't send her anything. And he's like, why? It's a nice thing to do. And I said, no, it's not. You're not doing a nice thing. And he's like, yeah, it is. It's a nice thing to send her money. And I'm like, no, you're not doing it for nice reasons, dude. Yeah. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, dude, okay. You think you're trying to convince yourself that you're doing the nice, right thing to be a nice guy. But what you're doing is you're sending her a package of intent. You're saying, you're sending her money that says, hey, look, I'm still a nice guy. Look what you screwed over. Look what you're missing. Look how good I am. Look, and then maybe if you come back to town, we can fuck. Like, you're sending her a package of all sorts of intent that has nothing to do with selflessness. Yeah. And he sat there and he was like staring at my dashboard of my car and he was like, wow, you're absolutely right. And
just
I'm
like me getting a ride to work, through somebody who just my friend, and then in the end it's like, what, they expect something from you,
like the guy that was giving you the ride to work all the time.
Like, if I'm nice this long, then I'm eventually gonna get some.
That's I don't know what's the expression is for. It's like the accumulated hero or some mentality where guys think that, hey, this girl is hot, and if I do X amount of good deeds, that equals blowjob. That's what guys think.
It doesn't?
No.
It's always worked.
No, that's what feminism says. Feminism says. No. But feminism's right there, because I completely agree that guys should not be doing things for fucking selfish gain. If you're going to do something nice for someone, do something nice. Don't do it because it's like, I'm going to get my dick wet.
I would even give gas money so he didn't get that intention, and whatever. I don't know.
Well, you didn't give gas money?
I did give gas money. I always gave him gas money. And let him know, I never.
So he never did any of the rides for free or anything like that?
Mm-mm. But then still still got mad when I turned him down.
See, that's messed up. Yeah. Guys, you listening to the podcast? Take a lesson. Be selfless. You want to know what's going to happen? You're actually going to gain female friends. Female friends. And guess what? You're going to have a much more fulfilled life when you have more friends in your life. That's just why do you always just want to keep like a list of possibilities? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's shitty. That's selfish. That's why I keep people around, because it's like,
weak in reality.
Look at all the bitches on my phone. One of these days, someone's going to text me drunk or something like that. That's fucked up. But I guess that's the lesson of the podcast. Yeah. Be honest with yourself. Be truthful. don't do shit to people for shitty reasons and like selfish reasons. If you're going to do a nice deed, be nice. Think nice things about people because you don't want to fucking project negative things onto people around you. Be a good person. But thank you guys for tuning in. Please keep listening to the podcast. We want you guys to listen and tell other people about it.
If you listen to it, put some comments on it. If you have any ideas of stuff you want us to talk about, it could be random. It could be the craziest conspiracy theory you think of. I will look it up and try to learn as much as I can about it.
Yeah, send us some links on Facebook if you got some stuff you want us to look into.
And hopefully we can get a schedule going soon. And we'll start getting some other guests on here for you guys.
Awesome.
If you're listening.
Yeah.
And we got to talk more about alchemy next.
Alchemy, yes.
And then the first person,
I'm into that.
First person that gets the name of the podcast tattooed on their dick gets a free voucher for e-juice, and they get to be in the podcast. So
yeah, maybe some coffee.
We'll have a bunch of pictures with dicks that say silence.
Silence. All right. Thank you guys for listening, tuning in. Aimee, say your goodbyes.
It was great being on here with you. It's my first time. Thank you.
We're going to get her on here more so we get that sexy voice.
This one.
Christian?
I'll start charging
She
money
looked like
for
a
that.
man. That was Miss Swan. That was my sexy voice. No, just like Joe said, every day, don't listen to us about anything we say, like the Anatoly Fomenko. If it interested you, you go look it up. Don't believe anything we say. Look it up. Be true to yourself and your own critical thinking mind.
And thank you guys for tuning in third time. And be informed, not afraid.